Hello, my beautiful gemstones. Welcome to Tuesday afternoon talk with myself and Ghostdragonzw. Sir Ryan Paul Tremblay had some personal business to attend to today, so he's not with us, but going forward, he will be. We all have things that come up. I actually almost canceled today too. It's been a really crazy, rough day, but I'm glad that I'm here. Glad to see you guys. Multifaceted Jules, I hope you're doing well, sweetie. Blue Crossroads, thank you for listening, and thank you so much for the beautiful Mother's Day gift. You found my favorite soap in the whole world in a body mist. I am just I've been walking around for the last hour just sniffing the air in my room. Sir Nutslap is in the blast booth. Good luck with that. Nutslap, speaking of you, I used your encounter for listener encounters. I think it's 19. It could be 20, but I think it's 19. I got to look that we're doing on Monday. So thank you so much for sending that in. Everyone who sent in listener encounters, everyone who wished me happy Mother's Day, sent me a gift, sent me a card, just wished it online, sent me a text, gave me a call. You guys made my day that much more special. Slow motion. Jason Pritchard, what is up? So we did have topics for today that we were going to cover with Ryan. You know, he's the cryptid guy. Cryptid talk has been going so well. And we've just been having a good time, but I didn't want to introduce those topics without him. So maybe we can get into it a little later. But Ghost and I were talking and we're like, why don't we just go over like the stuff from Monday's videos, the thwarted abductions and the Watcher of Westfield, by the way. I don't know if y'all saw my pinned comment. I was so embarrassed. I referred to it as Westwood for like 4 times. Living in New Jersey near Westfield and Westwood, I constantly get them intermingled, and I messed up big time, but I didn't notice until editing, so there was no way for me to fix it. MZM, what is up? Hi, Soul Family and Soul Sis. Sending love and light. Hilton Whittlewood, you guys just make my day so much brighter. And I really appreciate y'all. I'm waiting for the ghost to pop back in. I could see his little picture back there. But did any of you guys catch the video? I know some of y'all must have. Yesterday that we talked about let's just can we talk about the thwarted abductions? Let me bring in Ghost Dragons.
Hello everybody. How you all doing? Hope you're having a good week so far.
What's everyone up to? I got my infamous monthly doctor appointment tomorrow, which I just hate. Like I'm all nerves the entire day before and the entire day of. I've been going for June next month will be 5.5 years exactly that this girl is clean and sober and that I've been going to this place. So I thought the thing with the thwarted abductions was actually really funny. Currently, I'm working on mass vanishings, but the thwarted abductions, what got me is that it never occurred to me that they wouldn't succeed in abducting humans if they wanted to, right? They're so much more technologically advanced. They're so much more spiritually aligned for the most part, and if they're not, they're so much more militant. I just feel like I told you guys this last week, the thing with the extraterrestrial smacking the thing against his hands like it was a remote battery that wasn't working. I laughed. I've got to admit, I giggled at that one.
Yeah, well, you know, things can be avoided even with the aliens. So, I mean, if things go the way you want it to go, you can stop them. So I'm sure.
The guy, what was it? Guy Twossi and Will Begay, and I remember that name because it's like Will Be Gay. I don't know. I'm a 90s kid, guys. So the extraterrestrial, the car stalls suddenly. For those of y'all who didn't see it, the car stalls suddenly, and this little being, this humanoid being, gets out of a craft that's in front of them. They don't know what's going on. I don't know who was driving, but I think it was Guy Twossi, and I think Will Begay was either in the back or in the passenger. So actually, I think it was the other way around because Guy Twossi is the one that ran, so he had to have been closer to the door. This extraterrestrial being just gets in the car and like scooches these guys over, and suddenly the car's working again. And then once Guy Tossey brought the farmer back to the car, you know, because he was like freaking out. He left his friend there and booked, first of all, but he was going to get help. So I offer him grace. The being turned around and started really angrily making these squawking bird-like sounds that he said, like, I knew I was being cussed out by this thing. I had done another video one time where the guy said that he saw these beings surrounding this thing that looked like a craft, and the being came up to him and was somehow, behold, was somehow pantomiming that it needed a wrench. And he figured out that this, or it like, maybe it compelled him. I don't know, like the telepathic stuff that they do, but he gave it the wrench. It thanked him, went back, used the wrench on the craft, and took off with his wrench.
He just wanted his tool back.
I mean, the guy's like, it could have returned my wrench.
And the other alien in the car just wanted to go to the gas station. He was pissed because he wasn't going to the gas station.
I think it's a dangerous thing, though, because here's the thing. I'm imagining this really cute scenario in my head. Do you know what I'm saying? And we don't know enough, I don't think, about ETs to really know their intentions. I think they have all different intentions. They're just as different and unique as human beings are. But the first guy I talked about, if he hadn't, like, first of all, my thing was, who thinks to sleep in a tree? And then I found out that that's actually common among people that are in the wilderness or stuck in the wilderness. It's harder for an animal to get you if you're up in a tree. I didn't know that. I would fall out. The way that I sleep, I'm all over the place. Yeah, I would, or a bear, right? But like, I was like, who thinks to sleep in a tree? This guy's so lucky he was in that tree. You always return a man's tools, especially if it's a wrench. Yeah, I mean.
And you always hold the flashlight steady.
My dad was a plumber. That's one of the first things I learned as a little girl. Raised a mechanic for like the past 50 some odd years. Like, I know you don't mess with a man's tools. My son is a mechanic. And I remember reading that, and the guy's like, I wish he would have returned my wrench. He's like, but otherwise, he didn't bother me. He just needed to fix the craft. He's like, and I thought it was pretty cool. But the guy in the tree, those things shimmying up the tree, not climbing it, trying to slide themselves up, something about that really
were they aliens?
Really gave me the chills. The reason I think they were aliens is because of the robot-like entities. Because I was thinking something maybe like Pale Crawler. First of all, there wasn't enough of a description. But then I was like, what kind of cryptid looks like a robot and shoots white smoke out of its head? Right?
Maybe it was a dragon.
And he saw the craft, actually.
Yeah,
I was thinking of doing a video on dragons. They're finding evidence, at least in the paranormal community, that dragons not only existed at one point in time, but that they might still exist. I fully believe they exist in other realms and dimensions, and I think sometimes they cross into here, which is why all of the people in the Old West were seeing like pterodactyls.
Yep.
They were accidentally crossing through.
I also believe that dinosaurs lived a lot longer, that not all of them died in the asteroid, and some survived. You know, the Aztecs have pictures, and the Incas have pictures of dinosaurs and them riding dinosaurs. So,
I'm not even
they
sure
were considered dragons too.
I'm not even sure, to be honest, that I believe that's what knocked the dinosaurs out. Like, I don't really believe in. I believe maybe they, again, maybe they were a lot smarter than we thought they were and went underground. Maybe ETs took them to get them off of Earth at that time. Maybe they all walked into a giant open portal that some outside force opened for them, knowing that the world was just going to get bad for them. Yeah, I had another point, but I lost it. It'll come back. There's so much. Oh, the Jersey Devil. A lot of people think that the Jersey Devil is simply some sort of dinosaur that never moved on. Because if we're talking about the Jersey Devil, by the way, I was thinking of this. I was reading over the script because I was going to use it for something else. Yes, actually, he did. Yes.
Yes, he did.
So they say with the Jersey Devil, like there's only one, right? Because it has a backstory. Mother Leeds gave birth to the 13th child, said, let this child be a devil. But what if that's just a made up backstory? What if there is more than one?
Well, they've actually found the house that they believe was hers.
No, they're not. I'm not saying that the Leeds existed, because there's still Leeds to this day in Leeds. Leeds is a place in New Jersey. It's called Leeds Point. I'm not saying that family didn't exist. I'm not even saying she didn't have 13 kids. Right. What I'm saying is, what if the devil is not connected to that at all? And that's just a myth or a legend. There's a woman alive, Cynthia Leeds, that somehow, related to Deborah Leeds, to Mother Leeds. And they definitely believe that the devil is a part of their family. And, she calls the devil her cousin, as if there's any humanity to it. But how do we know that there's
relatives?
I was talking about, I think it was on the way back from my doctor last month. I was talking to Ray about how there are a lot of people who journaled, explorers who all they had was ink and pen or quill, whatever they used to write things down that they saw. And so many of them saw things like unicorns, dragons, dinosaurs.
What was their interpretation of what they saw?
Too many independent of one another for me to think that it's a fluke. But that's the other thing. People say, were they seeing like some sort of, number one, something that's extinct to us now, but that lived back then? Or was it their interpretation of like maybe
a one-horn ram or...
yes, I was trying to think of a good example. Yeah. Or were they just interpreting defective, for lack of a better word, animals? Everyone has that one cousin. I actually do. He's on my Facebook and his name is Russell. Love you, Russ, if you're listening, but it's true. He's been banned by like everyone in the family but me. Everyone always warns me about Russ. They're like, Gemma, I don't know if you know this, but that guy Russ, he's a little weird. I'm like, yeah, but he's a cousin.
He can't be as weird as me.
It can't be as weird as us, right?
But
yes, Robot. Yes, Robot Granny in the woods. That's a great connection, Blue. Thank you. He goes in the woods. Remember Robot Granny and this robot-like creature that accompanied these other extraterrestrials. I'm a little all over the place because I expected Ryan to be here and kind of carry the show like he always does. I expected you guys to do it. They won't show themselves if you don't believe. Is it that, Mike, that they won't show themselves if you don't believe? Or is it that if you don't believe, you won't be aware enough to see them? I mean, I don't know. Like, why do I see so much and most of y'all don't? We all believe, right?
I do.
Or most of us do,
I kind of look at things a little differently than most people, like with the alien thing and stuff like that. Yes, the Vikings did fight what they called hairy people.
Ghost, I got one of yours in the listener encounters always, because you always send me such great ones. And someone that's very special to us, that's been in our streams and in our chats talking about this personal encounter she sent me, but she wanted me to do it anonymously. But most of y'all will know who it is, but I did it anonymously for her. But definitely interesting encounters, guys. Thank you so much for sending them in. Please keep sending them. I mean, I'm not picky, but I would prefer to have encounters where I can say it's from Hilton, it's from Behold, it's from Slow-Mo, as opposed to this anonymous person that I don't know well enough to trust that what they're telling me is true. I don't know. I felt weird about the last one. It sounded very reasonable to me. It was about shadow/static entities and animals, but I don't know who this person is, even though I do know, if you're listening person, I appreciate you. And I do know you follow me because of some things you said.
I had a very interesting conversation with my cousin. My dad's sister, as you know, we found out she had dementia.
Yes.
And she's starting to get worse. and she's now under 24-hour care. She was complaining to my cousin that she was seeing these static entities that kept coming into her room talking to her at night, but she could never understand what they said.
I was just going to say, was it staticky clicking?
She said it sounded like you're, on a fuzzy channel, and it could barely come through. She said that's exactly what it sounded like. And she said it was weird because she's been really bad lately. So she doesn't, her mind is going on her. And she said, but this was very clear. She was very detailed. Like, she was like, Mom, you can remember all this. And she goes, I can't help but not forget, remember. I see it every night.
No, and that makes sense. The thing I tell people to try to give them some comfort, because it's absolutely true, is when someone has dementia, Alzheimer's specifically, those two, they're mostly crossed over. Not meaning they're in heaven or whatever you think the other side is, but meaning they're kind of in an in-between place where they're open to all of the spiritual realms around us. Yes. That can be a really scary thing because you have no control over the good realms and the bad realms. Mike, I starred your comment because you said it doesn't mean they aren't there. And that's absolutely true. Guys, if you could see what I see or what someone like me sees, there are other dimensions around us all the time. When you're walking down the street, there are other people in other dimensions walking down the street. We're just not supposed to be aware of one another.
And I see the ones that tend to follow people.
Yeah, slow motion. Please do. I was looking for yours, but don't worry about it because
I told her that you were going to email it to her. So
as soon as I get 4 encounters, they're usually, that's about enough to do. And I would do a listener encounters every week if I had enough of them. So just because it's not in this one, I archived all the ones I have, and that'll be first in the next one. Never stop writing them, never stop sending them. I know for a while y'all were sending them. I wasn't checking my emails at all. But what I did to make sure that I check my emails is I gave my son's school my work email address. So I know I have to check that email at least once a week to see like the community updates and everything going on in the school. So Summerland. Didn't Vikings fight the quote unquote hairy people in North America?
That up. Yeah, they did. Actually, I'm that descent. I'm from that heritage. There are stories, lots of stories of them fighting hairy men, unknown water creatures while they were out at sea, because they were very active on the oceans. And there are stories that would just kind of, you go, what? There's a really good movie called Outlander, which talks about an alien craft crashing on Earth back during these times, during the time of the Vikings. And they were carrying an alien being or a creature that looked like a dragon that was devastating worlds. Their planet. It was literally torching the planet. So they caught it. They were going to take it somewhere else. Well, he crash lands on Earth, and the dragon escapes. They call it a dragon because that's basically what it is. And it kind of establishes the lore of a dragon, that these dragons actually came from, it had babies. It was going to have babies. And it's a great movie. If you ever get a chance to watch it. But
I've heard of a lot of people that said they liked that movie and have recommended it to me.
Yes, it is really well done. It didn't get a great review, but
they never do when they're good. So many amazing movies get horrible reviews because critics don't understand our genre.
Right.
I think if you don't understand that the possibilities are endless for what we could be, what we could be dealing with, what we have dealt with, and what we are dealing with right now, when you just want to live, in the matrix, so to speak, you're not going to appreciate something like that, Right. And those are the kinds of movies I love to watch. Slow Motion said that's a great movie, well worth a watch. What's up, Life with Bobby? Hilton says, I had a reading from a friend of a friend telling me about my guides. I see nothing. Are they? Yes, they are with you all the time, 100% of the time. But the thing, Hilton, is that unlike negative or lower vibrational entities where like any little thing's an invitation, they cannot get involved unless you say, my guides, my angels, my ancestors, my team, any higher vibrational spirit around me to help and protect me, please make the decisions for me today. I give my day over to you. And you should try to say that every morning. You're manifesting. Your life will change for the better the minute you start doing that. Speaking of Vikings, the Kensington Runestone is at the Runestone Museum in my hometown of Alexandria, Minnesota. Interesting.
Now, interesting, these guys in South America and in Africa are finding these stones. Now, have you ever heard of red mercury? That's what they believe is inside the runestones, is what they call red mercury. It's like regular mercury, but it's got special components. You hold it and it will get hot. You drop it in water, it will actually make the water boil. There's one video where this guy's holding this stone or this thing, and he puts his hand in front of a mirror, and you can actually see his skeleton hand in the mirror. But they believe these are part of the rune stones that the Vikings and a number of civilizations have talked about over the years. So I'm wondering how people feel about that and if they think they're legit.
I mean, it sounds just as reasonable as anything else, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't think there's really much that I would say, no, that's impossible. Or even when people tell me their encounters or what they're dealing with or going through, there's never a time when I'll say you're lying.
Right.
Because especially in modern society, right? Do we actually think the BEK, the Glimmer Man, just suddenly appeared nowadays in the last 20 years? No. It's that we can talk about it en masse now. We have instant access to photographs and videos now.
Right. Well, see, that's the thing. Everybody thinks everything's uptick because of the, everybody's, everything's getting active again. Well, one, of course, everything always gets active when the world's in distress. The world is very in distress right now. But this stuff has been going on for years. People haven't been able to talk. People are afraid of talking about it. We didn't have cameras in our hands 24 hours a day.
Right.
So it's not really an uptick. It's been happening. Now we have people catching it.
I also believe there's more of an awareness around it now, too. Yes. If at the time, if I hadn't been listening to Missing Persons and Mysteries and writing for them, which I don't even know if I was, I wasn't even writing for MPNM at the time I had my Glimmerman encounter, but I did listen. I was a huge fan. That's how Steve Stockton and I met. I wouldn't have known what that was. And I do fear that I may have followed it. Now, me being who I am, I did get a really terrible energy off of it, but it had the effect it wanted to have on the little one. And I would have been following him. So I really don't know what would have happened. And I said that they did read my encounter before, anybody knew who I was, when I had like 5 subscribers. And that's kind of how they asked me to start writing for them. But he did listener encounters on Missing Persons Mysteries. It's like volume 4, 5, or 6. I'm not sure which one. My story is in there of what happened to me. And I told my story before I had started talking about the paranormal. And that's why I want to retell it. But so many people are like, don't leave it as it is. But I'm like, throughout the whole thing, I'm like, you guys are going to think I'm nuts. I want to tell it from a perspective of openness now, where it's like,
I don't think you'd have a problem. I think it'd actually be good because over time you have a better sense of what you're saying now. And like you said, looking at a different perspective, you can make that story so much more clear to people too now.
Yes. And another thing is, like, besides my shorts, like I have one short that has like 22,000 views. That's the most viewed anything on my channel. It's the one that freaked Smoochie out. But But aside from that, my Glimmerman encounter is the most viewed video on my channel. So I think if I redid it and told it from my perspective now, 4 years later, when I'm open about who I am and the things I can do and my experiences, I would be able to kind of drive the point home of what we saw that day. So I'm thinking of doing that. I'm thinking of redoing some of the videos. I've already done remixes of a lot of my very old videos. And I still I just keep changing and progressing so much that I don't like to leave the old stuff there. I like to rework it.
Well, you're growing too, and your insight is getting broader.
For sure.
So yes, redoing stuff and retelling stuff is always a good thing because you now have a new perspective of those encounters that you had yourself and with other people. You know what I'm saying? So it's good sometimes to go and rehash some of that stuff.
Absolutely.
Also,
I've been thinking about it. I don't feel very well, guys. I'm going to end soon. I feel very dizzy and just, I'm a woman, once a month this happens, but it's really, I just don't feel well today.
It's all right. We understand.
You were going to say something.
Yeah, and I forgot now.
Sorry.
I pulled a Gemma.
Oh, Jules, I hope you feel better, honey. And
yes.
Slow motion, yeah, these communities are growing, and I think people are growing within them. So again, it's not that these things just popped up. It's that there's much more of an acceptance. There's much more of an awareness, right? And there's more access to be able to share it.
Right. And I think too, and we've been saying this, and I've been saying this for a while, since about 2012, that the veil is thinning and it is lifting. So yeah, things have become a little bit more active, and people who don't normally see stuff, who didn't believe in this stuff, are now seeing and believing because now they have a camera and they're going, holy crap, this is real, So I think there's a number of factors involved with what's going on. And now people are looking at the past, looking beyond just our decades, but before that, and seeing that this stuff has been going on forever. There's these stories, people who have never been even remotely interested in any type of paranormal or spiritual event are now seeking answers.
Yes, and believing some of what they hear. There's more belief in it now too because of the awareness.
Yes.
Jules, that's so funny. Me too. When I was in my addiction, you see on TV people do that specific thing and they fall out. And first of all, I've barely ever seen anyone do that. And secondly, I would jump up and start cooking and cleaning. Multifaceted Jules, absolutely. I want missing time incidents because I don't just read the encounter and move on, guys. I do something a little different. I'm always doing it a little different, right? I discuss it and I tell you what I think and I tell you why I think that. And I tell you, it might be this or it could be that. Guys, I really don't feel well. I'm so sorry to have to do this, but I do have to end. I feel like I need to lay down. The lights are really hurting me. I'm starting to get a migraine. If I was feeling this bad when we started, I wouldn't have even done the show. But I did want to say hi to you guys. I love you all so much, and I will see you Friday. I just can't do this right now. I'm getting sick.
Yes, you're good. Everybody have a wonderful day. I'll keep an eye on the little lady. And you guys take care of yourselves, and we'll see you on the flip side. I'll be around tomorrow night at midnight.
Oh, poor Slow Motion. He's like, I live alone. This is as much talking as I do all week sometimes. Guys, we're always here. I'm just having a really bad day. I love you all tremendously. And thanks for coming in. Hilton, one more thing. I see and hear nothing, just feel things, kind of. Reach out with that. If you feel something, stop, look, listen, smell, taste, feel with your hands, reach out with your mind. You can close your eyes and, face the direction of whatever it is where you're feeling something. And imagine a hand reaching out of your mind and inviting whatever it is in. That's a good way to open up to be able to, I guess I would say telepathically, or at least, I don't know what it's called when you see it in your head, to envision it. But the challenge doesn't come with that. That's easy. The challenge comes with believing what it is you're seeing in your mind's eye and understanding that it is real. You're not just making it up. Love you guys. Multifaceted Jules, right back at you, sweetie. I sure hope you feel better. I had 4 pulled at once, and it was not a good thing. I'm going to go lay down, guys. Love you all so much. Bye.